week. They are now 6-0 under Thompson, and everything about this baseball team, the feel of this baseball team is just different right now. I mean, it is remarkable how much it has shifted. The last loss was last Wednesday night. They lost Tuesday night. They lost Tuesday night to the Giants, the extra inning game. Jock Peterson hit the home run. And the Phillies haven't lost since. They won the Wednesday game where they came back. Nola had the bad inning. They came back late on I believe it was a Schwarber home run. And they haven't, I mean, this team hasn't looked back. That was the big Maton game that night. They haven't looked back. The Angels came in, boom, disposed of them. They go to Milwaukee, boom, knock them around. And think about this series against the Milwaukee Brewers. They beat Hader in the first game, and they beat Corbin Burns in the third game. I mean, you can make a case. Two of the top 10 pitchers in baseball. I mean, just Corbin Burns, obviously winning a Cy Young last year, is a top 10 pitcher. And I would argue Josh Hader belongs there as well, even though he's not a starter, he's a closer. He's that good. He hadn't allowed a run in the regular season since last July. I mean, we're talking about one of the best teams in baseball in Milwaukee, and the Phillies went in there and beat them up. And if you look back now, and I made it a point to kind of make sure we were going to do this at some point because it really, I think, tells the tale of what the Phillies are. So if you look back, and we talked about it a lot over the past month or so, that the Phillies had a brutal schedule from about, let's say May 8th or so, May 6th or so, through today. Brutal schedule. You go there, it was Mets, it was Mariners, Dodgers, Padres, Dodgers, Braves, Mets, Giants, Angels, Brewers. Of that group, the only teams right now that reside under 500 are the Mariners and the Angels. The Angels were not under 500 when that started. They've now lost 14 games in a row, 3 of those at the hands of the Phillies. But the stretch was the stretch, and it ended in Milwaukee here against the Brewers. Here, let's just go through it here, how the Phillies fared, because I thought this was going to be either they were going to stay afloat or they were going to fall apart. And at one point last week, when they lost that second game to the Giants, it felt like they were falling apart, that they would probably, get swept by the Giants, lose 2 out of 3 of the Angels, lose 2 out of 3 of the Brewers, and they'd fall apart completely. Well, they didn't. This last week has actually changed that month that we talked about so much. So if you go through it, they lost 2 out of 3 to the New York Mets. Okay, so they were 1-2. They went to Seattle, took 2 out of 3, 3-3. They went to the Dodgers. They won that 3 out of 4. That put them to 6-4 in the first 10 of that stretch. They came home against San Diego, lost 2 out of 3. That puts them at 7-6 through the first 13 games of the stretch. They lose 2 out of 3 of the Dodgers. That put them at 8-9 through the first 17 games of that stretch. Okay, 8-9 through the first 17. Then they go and they play Atlanta for 4. They split that series. Then they lose. They get swept by the Mets. Lose the first 2. They were on a 5-game losing streak. We were really being serious about it. They were on a 5-game losing streak. They had lost, 7 out of 8 entering that win last week against the Giants. And then boom, since then, win. They're afloat. They got the Phillies ended up over 500 in the stretch that I thought potentially could sink their season, and that over 500 really only happened because of this winning streak they're on right now. Let's hit the player of the game here, sponsored by Stars and Stripes Harley-Davidson, the #1 volume Harley dealer in Pennsylvania. Today we're not going with a pitcher. I think we've gone the easy way out the last couple nights and gone with the starting pitcher here. We're not tonight because Zach Eflin, quite frankly, didn't pitch very well. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, a run, 3 walks. This is the first start Eflin had in a very long time with more than 2 walks. He had 3 walks, and his command was all off. We got some choices here. So we could go with Kyle Schwarber, hit his 15th home run. We could go with Bryce Harper, who reached base 2 times, hit his 15th home run. But today we're going with Didi Gregorius. Didi was just shy of the cycle. Didi's actually hitting over 300. He's come back from the IL at a time they needed him, because Segura went down, so now this allows Stott to play second base. But Didi today had 3 hits, a run batted in, hitting .306. He is our player of the game in an 8-3 Phillies win. Cecil is up here on the final line. Hey, Cecil.
Yes, hi there. How are you?
Good, Cecil. What's up?
I got a couple of comments.
Okay, I want to hear them.
Okay, number 1, I'm happy that Rob Thompson is the manager because he was putting like Nick Nelson and Familia in a high-pressure situation, which shouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I want to say I called in and said I wanted the young kids to play, no matter what. And they are playing, like Stock have came up with a couple of few clutch hits, Mayton. And then also, I would like to see they get rid of Hoskins and the young catcher that's down in the minor league, not O'Hop, but the other one that played a little bit last year.
Rafael Marchand.
Yeah, Marchand and Hoskins, get him out of there, trade him to the Pirates, and bring in Bell to play first base. He's a switch hitter. He's got a lot more on the ball than Hoskins, because Hoskins, I just don't know about that guy.
Yeah, well, Cecil, I'm not the biggest Hoskins fan either. And Cecil, man, we appreciate your phone call. But I believe Josh Bell, I believe he's talking about Josh Bell there. He's actually with the Nats now. Josh Bell's a National. But he is a free agent to be. He's on a bad team. They could trade him. Josh Bell would be an upgrade over Rhys Hoskins over at first base. Josh Bell so far this season, as I pull him up here in front of me, Josh Bell is a 796 OPS. He's hitting 303, probably hitting about 100 points higher than Rhys Hoskins in the season. Yeah, I'd rather have Josh Bell at first base than Rhys Hoskins. The question is going to be is if the Phillies actually will spend resources to upgrade at first base. I doubt they will this season. I mean, any resources they're going to use on more pitching, I'd imagine, or perhaps someone that could play all over the place to give them more flexibility in the outfield, maybe that kind of player, and a guy that could play the infield or the outfield. I mean, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with the trade deadline, but I don't imagine upgrading over Rhys at first, getting another first baseman is really going to be top of mind for them.
No, I mean, we can quibble about his offensive production, and obviously defensively he leaves a lot to be desired at that position. But, I mean, if you were to give him a letter grade, wouldn't he be like a B-, C+ kind of first baseman right now? Like, he's above average, I think, in his production. And if you're a team like the Phillies who have a lot of holes across the board, especially defensively, in the outfield, in the back end of your bullpen, and even your rotation a little bit, even though the rotation's been great this last term around, I don't think you necessarily have the luxury of upgrading from Rhys Hoskins. Like, I think if you look at where you need to upgrade, as much as we may dislike Rhys Hoskins, he's one of the guys that's safest right now.
Yeah, he's at least, and other than when he had the injury last year, I guess it was last year when he was abdominal, like he usually plays, right? So it's not like you're worried about durability with him. Other guys you kind of will. And as we look forward to the trade deadline, which I believe is in early August this year, it's not July 31st anymore. As we look forward to the trade deadline with the Phillies, something might pop up. And we all say right now, get another arm in the bullpen. Obviously, every team probably says that. But something else might pop up. I mean, they lost Segura for an extended period. They don't have Bryce in the outfield. This is the way it works. I mean, something that's not a hole right now might be a legitimate hole by August 1st. And the other thing is the Phillies have had remarkable health in their starting rotation. I think every day they must pinch themselves. They're rolling these same five, other than when they throw Falter in for a spot start or, to put in a six-man rotation for 10 seconds. They're rolling the same five starters just game after game. And if they could continue that, it would give them a great advantage to make the playoffs. But they might need a starter because right now, Bailey Falter, the guy they got yesterday from the